Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in all of Ohio sports. A couple of days ago, the Indians promoted outfielder Oscar Mercado from Columbus, and they said they didn't want him to rust out on the bench. In a 9-0 rout of the White Sox on Tuesday, Mercado was in the lineup. He struck out 3 times and he got hit by a pitch once. Tonight, the Tribe starts a 4-game series at home against the Orioles, arguably the worst team in baseball. Mercado, surprisingly, is not in the starting lineup. Can anybody tell me why? The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, might be able to do that. He's here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it is a Thursday night. That means the D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. Lots going on in Cleveland sports. If you want to talk about it, now's the time to do it. 216-575-0403. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff. Hello, D-man.
We're number 5. We're number 5.
You need the cheerleaders out there.
What kind of ring does that have to it? We're number 5.
All right, so your thoughts on the whole lottery experience.
No question.
Let me just throw one thing in. When Cleveland's card came up, I said, oh, my God, they fixed it for Los Angeles or the Knicks, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that either the Knicks or the Lakers were going to get number 1. Obviously disappointing because, you know, I listened to the pundits, and they were virtually unanimous that it's essentially a 3-tier draft at least. And one being, the first tier being Zion, the second tier being Morant and Barrett, depending on which guy you like the best. And then the third tier is a bunch of guys after that. So not being in the top 3 hurts. There's no doubt about it. However, when I got over the disappointment for Cavs fans' sake, and I said, all right, the good news is, out of the consolation prize, that in the 5-hole, at least 2 of these 3 guys will be available to the Cavs. DeAndre Hunter of the Virginia Cavaliers, right. Jarrett Culver of Texas Tech, and Cam Reddish of Duke. Those are 3 guys that I really enjoyed watching in college, especially this last tournament where Hunter won and Culver was runner-up. Right. And so I said, all right, if you're going to get a consolation prize, why not, you know, that's not terrible to have a pick of at least 2 of those 3.
In Reddish's case, at the beginning of the season, he was rated higher than anybody.
Yeah, you know, and we'll see what the Cavs do and how they evaluate. But with John Beilein coming in, you figure, all right, he's going to give you a fresh pair of eyes on a college talent. And that's the good part, I think. One of the good elements of Beilein in this particular case is that he's coming right from college. Right. So he's going to have a college perspective, a college eye. You know, our buddy Chris Fedor was telling me yesterday that one of the guys that Michigan had to scout extensively was Culver with Texas Tech, you know, to prepare for him. So if anybody knows these players well, you would think it would be a guy like Beilein. Right. So, again, by no means am I saying they're substitutes for being in the top 3. That's a disappointment. There's no other way around it. But at least you've got decent players to choose from at 5.
All right, so let's tie that in with the selection of Beilein. You okay with it? And also, what it proves is when teams want to keep something a secret, they have ways of doing that.
Sure, and Dan Gilbert had us all fooled. Yeah, I'm sure he checked in with Izzo for the umpteenth time. Right. And Izzo said, oh, Dan.
Turn it over to Ann Arbor.
I'm doing just fine. And maybe Izzo pointed over to Ann Arbor and said, hey, you might want to try Beilein and see. But
and by the way, it might make it easier in the Big Ten for Michigan State without Beilein there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, get Beilein out of here. Yeah. He's exactly, Les. I hadn't thought of that. But
no, I made that up.
Well, then that's why you get paid the big bucks, because you come up with good stuff like that. But Beilein, I mean, I'm neither here nor there on him as a pro coach, because I don't know if he can
There's
coach at the
nothing
pro
there.
level. Nobody does. Even he doesn't know.
Right.
Now, he says he's excited for the challenge and everything else. What I do know is, heck of a college coach, did a tremendous job with Michigan. And one of the elements of him that I love is how squeaky clean he is.
You never heard his name.
No, you don't hear people, and I'm not saying, that you have to have choir boys coaching in the NBA, but certainly in college basketball, where there's so much grease and so much grime, it never stuck to John Beilein. You had faith that he was legit. So I like that among many things about Beilein.
And you're going to hear, I'm assuming they will announce one or two assistants who are have been assistants in the NBA. It'll help him along. I think his biggest trouble, and I don't have a problem with everybody saying a 5-year contract at the age of 66. I don't have any problem with that. My problem is what he's going to find out is an 82-game schedule is a long, long grind. And in and out of hotel, although the hotels are the airplanes easy because they're chartered and they come and go whenever they need to. But 82 games, 41 of them on the road, and having never done that pace before is going to be a problem.
That's right. The culture shock of 82 games at age 66, or I don't know when he turned 67. But here's maybe where Beilein is coming from on that. He says, if you add up all the days I'm on the recruiting trail, all the days I'm traveling to try to, get somebody to come to my campus, plus all the games that we play, then I'm getting close to however many travel days an NBA season entails. That could be one of his, his rationales
but he
for
won't
helping
know
him
that
out.
He won't know that till he sees
he
it.
won't. And you're gonna have young guys looking for high energy from Beilein, and by all accounts, he is a high energy guy, even at 66. But your point is well taken. To start doing that at that age has got to be an adjustment.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. Find out your thoughts on anything. A lot of stuff going on. D-Man, during the break or just before we started, you're listening in on a little feud going on between Odell Beckham Jr. and Colin Cowherd.
Well, the thing is, you've authorized me, Les, to check my phone during the show and during breaks. And
I demanded it.
What I'm doing is trying to figure out, where is Odell Beckham Jr.? He was here Tuesday. He wasn't here Wednesday. Presumably not here today. I don't see why he would be. I haven't read or heard anything that he's here today, the end of the 3-day organized team activities. But as we go on the air, which is now, it's now 25 minutes ago, Beckham tweets on top of Colin Cowherd, who has top 10 moments of Odell Beckham Jr.'s career, and Cowherd is clearly mocking Beckham and saying that the top 10 moments aren't worth anything. He has one of them being a fight with a teammate or fight with somebody. One of them's being, the urinating somewhere was his number one moment or something. So clearly he's after Beckham. He's getting after him.
Well, he's not after Baker-Mayfield now, for a while anyway.
Yeah, correct. He's taking a break from Baker to get after Beckham, and Beckham says, now you've gone too far, bro. I understand nobody listens to your show, but stop using my name to get clout, bro. I let you say whatever you want. Bottom line is, Beckham is apparently tweeting, or is tweeting, not apparently, he is tweeting, but he's not doing work with the Browns. And I'm going to say something very quickly, Les. I said this in previous shows, I'll say it again. I don't panic regarding Beckham until and unless he misses mandatory stuff. And this stuff is not mandatory. Now, would the Browns like to see him? You better believe it. Would freddie-kitchens prefer not to have to answer questions yesterday about why Beckham was here Tuesday and gone Wednesday? Of course. But I'm not panicking until Beckham doesn't show up for a mandatory event.
I still don't understand. Here's a guy who started to get ripped in New York, and for a lot of reasons, and the team wasn't very good, and Manning wasn't very good. And he's denying that he's a bad guy to have around and all that stuff. This is the perfect time to say, look, here I am. I'm not a problem. But he seems to be bringing this on himself. And again, after Game 3, if they're or after Game 4, if they're 3-1, nobody's going to remember this at all. But if they're 1-3, I guarantee you, he will hear about it.
Yeah, it appears as though he's creating unnecessary drama. But the question is, and the question is why? Well, part of it is it might be that's who he is. He's a guy who
can't stop himself.
Who likes drama, can't help himself, isn't into the whole, I need to be here with my teammates at voluntary stuff. But I'm also going to raise a question that I'm not trying to stoke anything here. I'm simply trying to think, which is sometimes hard for me to do. Is Beckham looking for a new deal?
Well, I think so, but you think this is tied in with that?
I doubt it, but then I'm wondering, okay.
I'm not sure what one has to do with the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. If he is looking for a new deal, this is a strange way to go about it. If you do want a new contract, don't even show up on Tuesday. Right.
But the thing is, Freddie-Kitchens.
But I just was trying to figure some reason for.
Well, there's got to be some reason, but Freddie-Kitchens hasn't done anything to bring this on. John Dorsey hasn't, and certainly Jimmy Haslam hasn't. So if he has a problem with the New York Giants, I'm not sure what that has to do with the Cleveland Browns.
That's true, Les. And one of the things, again, I'm a guy who's willing to be patient with Beckham, but I will say yesterday, when Kitchens is addressing Beckham's absence, Kitchens used the word mentally prepared when he's talking about why, and maybe it's referring to a player such as Beckham, because the question was about Beckham, but he's speaking maybe in general terms. I want a player who's mentally prepared, or I want my player to be mentally prepared. Well, he brought that up. We didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody brought that up to Kitchens and said, is Beckham mentally prepared to be a Brown or to be practicing? So that's an interesting little.
Well, that must have come up in his conversations, Beckham and Freddie-Kitchens. The thing that concerns me is that, he made a big deal about having plans. He had commercial plans. He had other plans when he was traded, and he wasn't ready to report yet. Well, you know what? Everybody gets traded. It's not. Yeah, it's a shock to the system. But he's not the first guy who ever got traded.
Yeah, and clearly Beckham is not a guy who, even though he's not going to these voluntary sessions with his new team, says, I'm going to hide. I'm not going to go on social media, as evidenced by this. He doesn't care that you see him on social media, but he's not presumably at the Browns facility. Maybe he is. Maybe somebody knows that Beckham is there today, but I haven't heard or read it.
216-575-0403. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. We'll take a break. We'll continue that discussion and much, much more. We'll talk about his absence, Odell Beckham's absence from Berea, and we'll find out if that means anything to you or to the Cleveland Browns. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I'm not concerned with it until it becomes mandatory, and that's June 4th, I think.
When you talk about trying to become a team, is presence right now valuable in that? Are you actually building team right now?
Well, I think we're building collectively. We're trying to come together and help each other out as we practice. But that started back, during meetings and stuff like that. Listen, I've never disputed the fact that it's not important for him to be here, but it's also important for him to be mentally ready to be here. All right, so I'm not giving him an out by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody here knows the conversations that Odell and I have. I'm just saying it's better for him to be here when he can present his best self, emotionally, physically, everything. And Odell Beckham's going to be here in the fall, and he's going to be a good football player in the fall, just like he has been. We just need to incorporate it into a team setting now and move forward with the Cleveland Browns, and that's what we're going to become. But are we there yet? No. And whether Odell's here or not here, we're not going to be the Browns yet. We're going to be the Browns when we line up in September.
All right, couple of things. Yeah. There's the quote you talked about that he wants him to be mentally ready.
It's important for him to be mentally ready.
What does that mean?
Means Beckham told him, I'm not mentally ready to practice on a full-time basis.
All right, you know what I tell him if I'm Freddie-Kitchens? This is my first shot at head coaching job, and I'm not going to let you or anybody else take that chance away from me.
Yeah.
Because clearly he's got issues. Freddie-Kitchens has things he has to deal with that he didn't plan for.
Sure. Beckham is certainly not making it easy on the first-year NFL head coach. Yeah. Exactly. So, again, I will say this. Mandatory mini comes around in early June, and he's not there. That's when I panic. But having said that, it sure would be nice if he took pressure off teammates who have to answer the question, Freddie-Kitchens who has to answer the question, where's Odell? Why isn't he here?
Well, that's what concerns me. Freddie-Kitchens has a lot on his plate, one of which I'm not happy with the fact that he's going to be calling the offensive plays, being basically the offensive coordinator. Although it appears at this moment that could change at any time, by the way. I mean, John Dorsey could come in and say, you know what, you got some issues off the field you got to take care of. Let's move on and have somebody else take that onus off you. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen somewhere along the line. But I think that Beckham, who had problems over the years with New York, is causing some problems that don't need to be caused. I don't like it.
Les, you know what Coward's top 10 moments in Beckham's career? OBJ memorable moments. Number 10, the catch. We remember that. Number 9, traded to Browns. Number 8, boat. Number 7, fight with net. Number 6, proposing to net. Number 5, Paris hotel room. Number 4, commercial with Eli. Number 3, meltdown in tunnel. Number 2, fight with Norman. And number 1, peeing in end zone.
Okay.
Now that's obviously
in no specific order.
Yeah, a guy in Cowherd who can't stand the Browns, evidently, and certainly doesn't like Baker. Now he's piling on Beckham.
It's a joke, people.
Yeah, it is a joke, but the point is that for Beckham to respond to that, I mean, should he? I guess he has a right to defend himself, right? But why even let that low-hanging fruit get picked? What's the point?
I think in a case like that, you just let it go, pretend it didn't happen, and when they ask people about it, just say, well, I don't know. Nobody I know listens to that show, so I can't respond to it.
Yeah. So it
would be like me picking on Casey Blake or Lonnie Chisenhall.
Yeah. Les, let me just say this. Yeah. And I might have said this on a previous show. This 2019 Browns, they are either going to fail, succeed spectacularly, they're going to be unbelievably good,
right,
or unbelievably bad.
No in between?
No. I get the sense, especially with Beckham involved and all the personalities here, the new NFL head coach, it's either going to be an unbelievable success or a colossal failure.
It seems to me that Baker-Mayfield is kind of taking over this role from the player's point of view. And listen, you forget he hasn't even completed a full year as number one guy, manning in charge of the huddle. Yet Odell Beckham is putting pressure on him to do that earlier than maybe you would want him to.
Yeah, that's a great point about Mayfield. It seems like he's been around here forever because we see him everywhere.
Right.
But the fact is he has not played a full NFL season. He didn't start the year. Taylor did. So I can't wait for, again, the mandatory stuff to take place. I can't wait for the Browns season, but it's certainly going to be entertaining if nothing else.
I hope it's entertaining in the good way that you suggested as opposed to the bad.
Not the car wreck way.
All right, when we come back, let's listen. We listened to freddie-kitchens, and we got a Facebook question of the day. We have it every day for you at More Sports and Les-Levine on Facebook. Let's see what we had to say. Of all the Odell Beckham storylines, do they bother you? Do they bother you in any way? I think most people will say, and I haven't looked at the results yet, but here they come. According to Michael, he says, no, ODB. ODB will be amazing. Carl Brunstetter, yes, because the storylines are the reasons the Giants traded this amazing talent. Because he's a problem player, and it appears he might be the same type of player here. I hope I am wrong, but he doesn't play a full season in New York. Dennis Davis, that doesn't bother me. The numbers on the field are the only thing that matters. His OTA numbers are irrelevant. Gary Holloway, too much hype before we have any results. I'd like the Browns to sneak up on everybody. Wins will do the talking. Gregory Mees, everybody just calm down. We don't know how to handle what's going on right now with the Browns, so chill. We'll see how it goes in September. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's always something, right? Rosanna Dana.
I don't think the Browns are going to be sneaking up on anybody.
No.
That's impossible now.
I think they did last year.
Sure, but that cat's out of the bag. I mean, the Browns, I'm sure, are circled on a lot of schedules because other teams are sick of hearing about the Cleveland Browns.
All right, you talk about Baker-Mayfield. You got 32 teams, right, in the NFL.
Yes.
You got to rank him somewhere. When we get back, we'll talk about where he ranks among the active quarterbacks according to sportingnews.com. We'll come back and check that out. We'll get your list where he ranks. We'll get my list, and then we'll check it out. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com. Pimlico is coming up. The Preakness, kind of some people more interested because of what happened in the Kentucky Derby, some people less interested, but it's always great times at Northfield Park when you check out what they do with Preakness Day, which is Saturday. Doors open early at 9:30 a.m. Pimlico post time is 10:30, and they've got the free-to-enter drawings and a chance to win the grand prize of $2,500. Food Trucks Festival starts at 2, goes till 7 o'clock, and they've got all kinds of stuff planned in the infield. They've got, as I mentioned yesterday, we talked about the Benjamins. They'll be entertaining from 3 to 5. This is one of the best local bands you're going to find anywhere in northeastern Ohio. All from Northfield Park, where, of course, it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems. Unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
D-Man, time for a How Come Quickie. You ready? How come we never see plants come or go where it says plant entrance?
Tremendous job by you, spur of the moment.
People should only know. 216-575-0403. We'll talk about the Indians. You've got a magnificent, fantastic stat that we'll check out. That'll come up in the next segment. All right, you got 32 teams. You got 32 quarterbacks. Without looking at the list or even marking things down, where would you put Baker Mayfield? Would you put him in the top 25%, top 50%, 75%, or whatever?
Definitely top 50%.
Okay.
So the
So
top
at least
16,
15,
but I'm not
16.
sure where from there because I haven't delved into every single one of them.
All right, here we'll put them up as far as what Sporting News thinks about it, and then you and I will take a look and say, no, wait a minute, that guy shouldn't be there, or that guy should be there. So here's what they've got. They've got number 1, Patrick Mahomes, followed by Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. Then you got Ben Roethlisberger in the 10 spot, and I don't see Baker Mayfield.
Oh, Mayfield's 9. Yeah.
That's in the top third or so. All right.
But I disagree with Roethlisberger being behind Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry. Two Super Bowl rings, and Roethlisberger is still a very good quarterback.
Well, they've got him 10th. Baker Mayfield is 9th.
He should be above Mayfield.
Okay, Mayfield is 9th. All right. Is there anybody else above Mayfield, 1 through 8, who shouldn't be there?
I think.
And by the way, this is how they are right now at this stage in their careers.
Right. I think Luck is a little high, given that he still has to prove it that he can stay healthy for an extended period of time.
Okay.
Yes, he came back last year and looked great from all the shoulder issues that he had, but I think putting him 6 is a little heavy for a guy who still has proving to do in terms of durability.
But you don't have any problems with the Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, then Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, and that's it. Anybody should be ahead of...
maybe Matt Ryan. I mean, if you're bullish on Mayfield and you want to find somebody to knock out of there or have Mayfield jump ahead of, you're going to tell me Matt Ryan is decisively a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield at this stage of their careers?
Where's Carson Wentz on this?
Well, he's got injury issues.
So you wouldn't put him ahead of Baker?
No, he's got to prove that he can last more than 10 games in a season.
He was 11th on the list. What about Goff?
I'd put Goff ahead of Wentz at this point because Goff has at least done some things recently. So,
yeah, like he got him to the Super Bowl.
I mean, we all liked Wentz when he came out, but it's not his fault that he's getting hurt, but he has to show he can survive a season.
Goff is 12, I'm told.
Okay.
All right, so you got a bunch in the middle there.
I'm trying to think of some other teams. Who do you have? Okay, Stafford is obviously not ranked high. I love his arm, but
you wouldn't put him against Baker at this point.
No, Mayfield's better. Stafford.
The other 2 quarterbacks in the Central, you got, or the North rather.
I see Garoppolo's not up there.
Yeah.
Some people would think Garoppolo is at least even with Mayfield, but I would disagree. I don't quibble with that a whole lot. I like the respect that Mayfield's being shown. But again, I disagree that Mayfield's ahead of Roethlisberger. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so you could flip-flop them. 9 and 10, 10 and 9.
Yeah.
I would think. All right, when we get back, the Indians back in town, still over the 500 mark. Plutko, Adam Plutko is going to get the start on Sunday for the Indians. That bother you in any way?
No.
I don't know what other choices. No, I don't know what choices they have. When we come back, we'll check out the state of the 2019 Indians. How about the fact Mercado, as I mentioned earlier, not in the starting lineup tonight?
Good question. Wish I had heard what Francona said about that. Yeah. I'm not quite understanding it.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're halfway through. We're going to talk some baseball. You can join in the conversation at 216-575-0403. You can also join in the conversation 24 hours a day by going to our voicemail of Truth and Reason. Call 216-200, 6650. Call anytime. Leave us a message as short as possible so we can air it on the show. That comes your way. It is the voicemail of truth and reason exclusively on cleveland.com. More Sports and Les-Levine continues with the D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff. Look at
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's check out this date in sports history. Today is the 16th. This is our way of telling us we missed Len Barker's perfect game yesterday. Still celebrating from Len Barker's perfect game. The unofficial attendance has now risen up to 50,000. It should be higher over the weekend.
I would submit 500,000 have been there. I think the official attendance was 7,000 something. I talked about
it was an ugly night.
I talked about it WTAM last night, sub-hosting, and paid homage to that tremendous achievement.
Billy Martin was born on this date in sports history. Calamari, Jack Morris, Thurman Thomas, Jensen Lewis, our very own Jensen Lewis, and Charlie Hughley, all born on the 16th of May. 216-575-0403. When I think back in history, when I first started sports history, when I first started falling in love with the game of baseball, and I could memorize the lineups, not only memorize the lineups of other teams, but actually in games that we would play with taking the tennis ball or rubber ball against the wall at the schoolyard with the rectangle strike zone, you'd imitate everybody batting.
Oh, absolutely.
And my favorite team back in those days was the Baltimore Orioles with Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Boog Powell, Eddie Murray, the great pitchers when you think of. Go through the lineup for the Baltimore Orioles for tonight's
These are
game.
not your father's Orioles.
My goodness.
Tonight at Progressive Field, Jonathan Villar at shortstop, Dwight Smith Jr. in left, Trey Mancini in right, Chris Davis, we remember his infamous beginning to the season and end of last season, at first, Stevie Wilkerson in center, Renato Nunez at DH, Rio Ruiz at third base, Pedro Severino catching, and Hasner Alberto at second base.
I pictured Tom Hamilton. There's a pop-up to short right field. The center fielder, right fielder converging, second baseman going out, and he has to scramble through his paperwork to say who the heck is going out there for that ball. This is, I'll tell you, the Baltimore Orioles, one of my favorite teams, and then this.
Well, and here's the thing, Les. The Orioles come in at, 14-28. Indians 22-19.
Yep.
When I looked at this homestand last night in researching for the sports show on TAM, I got a 4-bagger against Baltimore, 3 against Oakland, which is underperforming and not good on the road, especially because they were so good last year.
Right.
And then you close with 4 against Tampa Bay, a good team from the AL East, Kevin Cash.
Struggling a little bit in the last 10 days.
But still, they're good, all right? Yeah. So I think realistically with the Rays, you split the 4, all right? That's just being realistic about it, especially with the Indians in the state of their offense. But I say at a minimum 7-4, preferably 8-3, and maybe 9-2 on the homestand.
All right, you just mentioned 22-19.
Yes.
Which for the Indians of late, that doesn't seem like it's very good. And then you take a look at what Terry Francona's teams have done early on. It actually is very good. I mean, let's take a look to see how it compares. And you read the Indians' offense or the Indians' record moments ago, and now you see what the Baltimore Orioles in town. The Indians this year at 22-19, second in the league, 4.5 behind the Minnesota Twins. But in 18, they had 20-21, 17, 22-19. Same thing in 2016, 2015, it was 18-23. And then 19-22, that was in 14. And in 13, his first year here, 24-17. So they haven't broken the bank in the first part of the season.
Right, but the concern is the GB, the games back, because you see 4.5 games back is not, easy. That's not. I mean, it's early. It's still early in the season, but 4.5 is a little bit uncomfortable, I would say. Minnesota is legit, I believe, and they will be around for the remainder of the season.
Well, I think what you're saying is Minnesota, which I didn't think, and maybe a lot of the experts didn't think, that they wouldn't go after the wild card. They thought maybe if they're gonna give the Indians any problems, it's going to be for the second wild card position, I would think. But now all of a sudden, it looks like they can hit. I don't think they can pitch well enough.
That's the thing. Well, but I've always believed, Les, that in the American League, a good offense can carry an average pitching staff. Maybe not all the way to the World Series.
Because of the DH?
But it could get you through the regular season because you need to score. And here's what the Twins have shown early in the season. They can hit home runs. By my count, they entered today with 76 home runs. And the Cleveland Indians had 41 in one fewer game. So the Twins in one more game have hit 35 more homers than the Indians.
That's almost hard. It is hard to believe. How about the triples?
Well, yeah, we have that stat. I grabbed this graphic when the Indians had played their 39th game or 38th game. They have not had a triple all season, and we got that confirmed by our great studio control. This is game 42. If the Indians do not hit a triple in this game, they will have the most games to start a season without a triple since 1908. the team with...
Hold on a minute.
Since 1908...
No, hold on. I'll be right with you. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, since 1908, the San Francisco Giants of 1982 opened their season with 41 consecutive triple-less games.
I'm going to be honest.
The Indians will have 42 if they don't have a triple.
I've heard the radio announcers of the Indians, Jim Rosenhaus, and of course Tom Hamilton, Matt Underwood, and Rick Manning. I hear them talking about that stat, and when I first heard it, I said, "Well, that's not that big a deal. That's probably happens all the time." And look at it happens twice in the last 110 years.
Yeah, it's and I think you've had underneath that you had the. When I'm looking at it here, 40, the Giants with 41, then it was the Marlins of this year. So maybe the Marlins, I don't know if the Marlins have a triple. And I don't know how many games the Marlins have played, but they're also listed with the Indians. And then the Expos of 1973 opened with 38 straight games.
Nice.
It's a little odd because you have some speed in this lineup. Lindor, Ramirez, so you would think you'd have a triple by now.
You'd think you'd have a triple from Kipnis. Finding a gap.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so I mentioned Adam-Plutko is going to start on Saturday. Does that give you the heebie-jeebies, or are you okay with that?
No, I'm itching to see what Plutko can do, how he can build off of last season when he got a little bit of a taste, and he's been injured, as we know. So
he's had 2 starts this season, and at Columbus in 5 1/3 innings. 4 hits, 6 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, or make that 5 strikeouts and 4 walks, and he will start on Saturday versus the Orioles.
It doesn't blow you away by any means, but I want to see what he can do.
All right, so how far can the Indians get with this offense? I would say not much.
You wonder, Mercado cannot be viewed as a savior. He's only going to be a piece. But here we go. Here's the graphic. I mean, this is
all right. Runs. The Indians in action tonight against the Orioles. 150 runs, ranked 14th. out of 15. 221 average, 14th out of 15. 303 on base percentage, 12 out of 14, or 12 out of 15 rather. Runs in scoring position, 230, that's 14th. At least they're consistent. 13th in home runs with a total of 41.
And the Twins are entered today third in the majors with those 76 homers. I think the Twins' OPS is somewhere around 830 or 820, and the Indians' OPS is 650 or 60.
Nonetheless,
So,
I'm declaring tonight Bauer against the
Guaranteed
Baltimore
win night.
Indians. I pull it out every once in a while. Guaranteed win night tonight.
you got it.
And by the way, if they don't win, I'm not sure what the penalty is for me calling it, declaring a guaranteed win night tonight. 216-575-0403. We'll switch over to basketball. We'll find out your thoughts on the NBA and what happened with the draft on Tuesday night, and let's try it again. And the Cavaliers, they're showing a nice face about it, but they can't be happy.
No, but you have to immediately turn the page if you're the organization, because you got,
especially with the new coach coming in.
And when you bring in this guy, you don't want to make him feel like he's a bad consolation prize.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Your thoughts on the draft lottery. Sokolowski's University Inn. They've got the big wine tasting event coming up two Sundays from now. It's going to be June 2nd from 3 o'clock on into the night. And the great Wente wine family, they're reaching their 100th year. They are celebrating it with Sokolowski's University Inn. They're almost up to the 100 mark. They began in 1923. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. For information and reservations, please give them a call, 216-771-8967 for Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. Dennis Manoloff and I return in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with NatureStone flooring. NatureStone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, NatureStone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get NatureStone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history, May 16th, 1964. After hitting safely in 3 consecutive at-bats, Les is lifted for a pinch hitter. His brush-high coach tells him he's not good enough to get 4 hits in a game. The pinch hitter, unfortunately, popped up. You're not good enough to get a 4th hit, so we'll sit you down right now. This week in review, May 13th, 1978, Les, who's in the bottom right in this picture, had a teammate on his softball team who knew his exact updated batting average before he reached first base. Obviously, the team needed a culture change. And then we move on and see what happened in 1957 when the guys in the neighborhood put baseball cards on their bikes. They chose Les to be their spokesperson.
That's fantastic.
Thank you very much. This comes 1957 during the Wiffle Ball Championships at Chavez-Levine. Les went after Joe DiMaggio's record by fouling off a pitch in 56 consecutive games. It was hard. The pressure was awesome on that as we got into the 50s. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is with us. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to BP and Pepper Pike. BP, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Okay. What's on your mind?
I wanted to know when the NBA draft lottery is going to be.
You are one of the biggest NBA fans we have, or at least Cavs fans. I think you know that answer.
I used to be.
Why? What turned you off?
The Cavs going from number 2 to number 5, and basically out of the top picks. No, it's very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah, but Arizona, Phoenix rather, and the Knicks, they had the same chance, and they didn't get it either.
Yeah, I just don't like. I think the commissioner of the NBA over-tinkered, the draft lottery and whatever they did with the odds, and I was even worried about the Bulls because this event was held in Chicago, and they had the 4th spot, and their odds were 12.5%. They were right on our.
Would you have felt?
We were at 14%, so the whole thing was watered down too much.
Would you have felt better if the Knicks got it, or the Lakers even? Because that's what I was thinking.
To be honest, I mean the Knicks. I would have felt better if the Knicks got it, because at least so if the Cavs have another rough year, at least there's hope for some kind of a top 3 pick. I mean, the way the Lakers crashed in there from the 11th spot to the 4th spot, and then Memphis crashed in there and New Orleans crashed in there, that really, as far as what hope do the Cavs have?
No, but you got to admit, it wasn't fixed. If you're going to fix it, you're not fixing it so New Orleans gets it.
That's right, but it's not fixed. But the NFL seems to have it right. When you're really bad, you get the first couple of picks, and that's how you get slowly creep up, like the Browns are starting to do in the NFL. But
D-Man, what do you think about what BP is saying?
Well, I was going to ask BP, what is your solution to tanking? Because clearly the NBA knows that it doesn't look good when teams race to the bottom, so they tried to set this 3-team setup with the equal amount of best odds, but how do you solve the tanking problem?
Well, to me, I mean, like the New York Knicks this past season, they let that guy Enes Kanter, they just let him go. I mean, he's a good player. So now he's helping Portland, chase, a championship. So, I mean, I would give some kind of penalty. Why would the Knicks let a perfectly fine player just go? They let a guy in his prime. They didn't let J.R. Smith go. They let, a 25-year-old guy go in his prime just so they could tank.
But obviously,
me, that's wrong.
Yeah, but obviously the tanking didn't help them in their position. They didn't get one of the top 3 picks, let alone the top 1.
Right. Well, that's because the commissioner flattened out the odds, so everybody had an 8-10% chance of winning the lottery. And the whole thing was just watered down.
I guess, but if you got rid of the potential to tank, and then the other, the difference between the top 3, or the bottom 3 in this case, the difference between the bottom 3 teams and the next 3 or 4 is negligible. I mean, it was so close. I mean, it wasn't a big difference between the 3rd pick and the 6th pick.
I didn't realize the Bulls had a 12.5% chance at number 4 of winning the lottery. We had a 14% chance. We were barely above them. So there was no, there was no advantage to being in the bottom 3. Where in the previous years, like when the Cavs won the previous lotteries, I think they had a 25% chance when you had the worst record. Then
that's what
then
they're
it would go
trying to remedy.
exponentially down from that.
Yeah, that was the problem.
You're trying to remedy this race to the bottom with this sort of egalitarian bottom 3. I wonder, and this was a producer, Anthony Alford at WTAM, threw this out there, why not take 2 or 4 of the worst team, the 4 worst or the 2 worst teams in the NBA that given season, and you have a playoff, and whoever wins that playoff game gets the number 1 pick. So you force the worst teams to go head-to-head. Let's say it was a 4-team tournament. Worst 4 teams in the NBA go head-to-head, 2 games each from each side of the bracket, or 1 game each, and then the game to determine the number 1 pick. You have to win it.
I got a problem with that.
Okay.
My problem is that what you're doing is you're asking a player to go out and win a game so that you get a better draft pick who may replace you, the player.
Right, but you could make the case that you're doing that the whole season. You're asking players to go out and
that's true.
lose games because they want a better pick that's going to take your job.
Yeah, but
if I also may say, like, let's say you get a guy with like a season-ending injury, like a Kevin Love or a Kyrie Irving, that happens a lot. That's why the team is bottoming out. So that may not, toward the end of the season, a lot of guys throw in the towel anyways. Like the Cavs this year, they finished the season going 3-15. So, guys get injured or they throw in the towel. So I don't know if that's such a great idea. By the end of the season, everybody's ready to go to Cancun. Or wherever they go.
I don't know if there is a solution.
the ratings were pretty good. And I don't think it was because it was a lead into the first game of the NBA playoffs. I think the ratings were pretty good, which means that in BP's case where you mentioned Chicago getting a pretty good chance, you're looking at 6, 7, or 8 teams who have a lot of interest in what happened last night.
And by the way, why did the NBA invite these players to come to this? What was the point?
I don't have a problem with that because it's like it's almost like a prom. Like, you're getting invited to the dance.
BP, help me out on this.
You put Zion Williamson in a terrible position because no matter what his facial expression is, he's going to get criticized for it. Right?
No question about it.
Since you guys are experts, what if Cleveland did win the lottery? Like a lot of the guys like the national pundits are saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to go to New Orleans." They probably would be saying that about Cleveland. Like he doesn't want to go to Cleveland.
No question about that. But it seems to me in the pre-draft or the lottery, I think I remember seeing Kyrie Irving at his 5 or 6 year, whenever that was. I thought I saw him at the draft, not the draft, but the lottery for the draft. But I could
5 years ago when he was drafted, or last night?
Yeah, no, 5, 6 years ago, whatever that was.
Remember, it's all about ratings. These guys are, they're cool young guys. They want to showcase the up and comers. So I have no problem with showcasing, the new crop of guys. I even noticed the kid from University of Virginia was there. His name is Jerome, and he's supposed to be like the 30th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So they honored a bunch of young kids with a trip to Chicago,
well,
which
don't
I
forget,
have no problem with.
Yeah, but they also have something this year. The thing that used to be at the Bible camp, Moody Bible camp.
Yeah.
I think that was on a different weekend than the draft
NBA
lottery.
Combine?
And I think that NBA Combine is there. So I think the players were in Chicago at the time.
Yeah. So, to me, it's kind of cool that they went from, they were on national TV on a Tuesday night. Now they're at the NBA Draft Combine in Chicago.
Right, but the draft combine was, even if it was on the same weekend or a different weekend, it was always in Chicago. And the pre-draft thing was in Secaucus or Manhattan or somewhere else. So I think they combined the two, and they'll tell you that it paid off. BP, I got to move along. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
BP.
you for the call. 216-575-0403. We're going to take a break. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing, and you got at Pimlico, you got the big race. It is the Preakness, and doors open at Northfield Park at 9:30. Post time for the Pimlico opening is 10:30 in the morning. You've got the food truck festival starting at 2, going to 7. The bus stop will be there. Superhero Subs, the Barrio 216 Bistro, Smash Time and Crooked Kettle Popcorn, and much, much more. Live music by the Benjamins and Unknown Reason. That's all at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. Each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partner in Education program recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Perry High School. We're going to meet Peyton Gottschall. Peyton excels in softball and in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Peyton Gottschall, this week's Shining Star.
If a softball team wants to win a state title, it must have the right girl in the circle. And Perry has Peyton Gottschall.
Yeah, it can be challenging at sometimes, but I live for that. And I love a good challenge. So then it just pushes me to do better, and I'm really competitive.
Gottschall stepped into the spotlight in late April of last year when the Panthers ace went down with an injury. With a unique mix of pitches and crazy movement, Peyton and the Panthers won their first state championship in 8 years.
My pitching coach has always forced spins to work on that. Because speed's nice, but you're not really going to get anywhere if you don't have spin and movement on your ball.
I've been able to talk to some coaches that have watched her from kind of a bird's eye view, say in a press box. They've described her pitches as cartoonish, just because of the kind of movement you get. And you don't hear that very often with softball pitchers.
Peyton recorded almost 200 strikeouts last year, with a .87 ERA, with her best friend, Gia Durio, behind the plate.
She'll like look at a batter and like she knows if like they're more inside and like we call like an outside pitch, I'll like shake it off and then she knows exactly like to go to inside.
Just being close with your pitcher, it's big and that plays a major role. So, and I'm best friends with Peyton outside, so we get each other, we're around each other a lot, and we definitely have a special bond.
Their bond will be broken in the fall when Gotchel pitches on scholarship at the University of Tennessee at Martin. With a 3.8 GPA, Peyton loves to work hard in everything she does.
I love to work for stuff like everything I have, like I want to earn it myself. Cause like I like to bust my butt as a pitcher and like show the team I have their backs.
If you know of a student deserving of recognition, go visit OhioLottery.com. Then go to the About section and find the tab marked Supporting Education to nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. D-Man, time to check out some emails that came in today. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. Let's take a look at some of the items that we have here. This is from Cleveland Bill. Beckham's personality was always going to be an issue despite the talent. One note, the Giants were 31-49 in Beckham's 5 years. That's a savior? Good question, right? Brooks Robinson trivia. Since less like from Cleveland Bill, less like the All-Star game when it was in Cleveland in 1963, Brooks Robinson took a plastic bat and hit one of the guest Eddie Feiner's lightning softball pitches on the Mike Douglas show. Eddie Feiner is the guy king in his court, used to play against full teams. The ball was hit and went a couple of feet. All right, thanks for that, Cleveland Bill.
I think Tomy's dad faced
Eddie Feiner?
Yeah, Tomy's dad was a great softball player.
And we continue on. Mr. Gullible says, how come I have a stepladder, but I never knew my real ladder? It's pretty good. How come I child-proofed my house, but the kids still got in? From Bob in Fairview Park, how come the Boston Red Sox have the highest payroll, but their top two pitchers are named Sale, Price?
Very nice.
These people were getting the essence of what a How Come Quickie is. And now John Patrick with his daily double. How come when I discovered secret of cloning, I was beside myself? How come driving with one headlight is not very bright?
Those are good. Those are good. Yeah.
I've created a monster. How come quickies?
They are good.
All right, let's wrap things up. Got a couple of minutes. What do you got?
Well, I checked the Indians as of right now, down 2-1.
On guaranteed win night?
Yeah, I talked smack about the Orioles lineup. I think Ruiz hit a homer, 2-run homer off
Of course
power.
he did.
Kipnis, though, first of the year, he's on the
a homer?
board.
Oh,
yes.
If it just hit the top of the fence, he might have had a triple.
He would have had a triple, but and again, we don't know where the Marlins stand with their triple-less situation. But by the way, that's a terrible, terrible team, and as expected. But
Kipnis, there's a lot of pressure on him. I know when you make $13 million, it doesn't seem like there's pressure. There's no, unless he has a year.
Yeah, what comes after this?
Nobody's going to offer him $13 million. He'll have a job in MLB, but not at the going rate.
Okay, I hope you're right. I mean,
you mean it could be over?
Well, if he doesn't have much of a year, is he guaranteed a starting spot somewhere else? Where's he going to start? He's limited to second base and left field.
A second baseman going at $13 million. That's what it is, right? $13 million,
yeah.
Somewhere in that area. It's hard to believe there wouldn't be a job for him somewhere, but he's had a couple of years in a row where he did not produce.
Yeah, he needs to have a good year this year.
Yeah, all right, that'll do it for you. The D-Man who has a good night every night he's here. You're back next Thursday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, if the sun rises. Yep. Will I have you? I will have you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks to our great studio people in the back. And you get to see more and more as we install some new cameras back in. That's for us to keep our eye on them.
Secret cameras.
That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.